Hello beautiful people, my name is Bridget and welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all having an awesome day, and today we're going to go over some palettes. So today I have 10 neutral palettes here. I try to keep them mostly with brown tones in them because I feel like a lot of people in the summertime, they're going towards more like the natural kind of makeup. Some people go for that fun, colorful moment, but a lot of people, they go to the beach, they go out for a walk, they do all kinds of things, and they want to wear like neutral makeup but still want to look glam, especially if you're going out to dinner at the end of the night. So I chose 10 palettes that are very neutral. I try to choose ones that were again like browns, not too many with golds in it and stuff, because I feel like that's a whole different category of video. But today I want to talk about 10 palettes that I would recommend you if you're looking for something neutral. And yeah, without any further ado guys, let's go ahead and get into it. So I let my hair air dry today and it's given like a little frizzy vibe, but I also kind of feel it when I was thinking about this video and I was kind of like going to the beach, your hair is all messy and stuff. So I just left it how it air dried and I brushed it. So don't judge me if you don't like it, but I think it looks kind of like messed up and cool. I don't know. But let's go and get started with Colourpop. So 6 of the palettes that I chose were from Colourpop because I always want to give you guys affordable options. None of these palettes here are extremely pricey. Like a couple of them, like 2 of them you can find at Sephora, the rest of them are cheaper than that. So I'm going to start with Colourpop just because I have a lot of those and I feel like everyone has Colourpop stuff and I love their quality for the price. So let's start off with the 2 mini palettes that I picked from the Love Struck collection. I do have a full video review on the Love Struck collection, but I chose these 2 right here. So we have one with a little bit of an orange to it, but it's still very neutral. Mostly you're going towards like a brown tone with besides this one shade. And then we have the other one here. So this one is Lyric. This one's Crush. I was thinking this is Ballad. So Lyric is more of the just regular what you think of a neutral palette. I kind of like this kind of shade here because it's a little bit more of a slightly mustardier brown tone to it, not just a regular cool tone brown to it. Not a fan of having a glitter in this palette, but some people are into that. But other than that, we do have 2 staple matte shades, one for the crease, one for darkening up the outer corner, and then 2 shimmers for the lid if you don't want to use the glitter. That still work really well. So this is a really cute compact palette. You can throw it in your bag. Let's say you're going to do something outside during the day, but you know you want to go out to dinner at the night, it's something you can throw in your makeup bag and have with you at all times. This one is my favorite neutral one from that collection. I do like the Ballad gray tone one the best, but that one's really good. This is a close second. And then next up, the Crushed one is more of like their orangier one, but it's still very much on the neutral tone. So we have it right here. We have more of a warm tone to it, but I would still consider these browns. Like this is still a brown. This is more towards the yellowy side. This side is still definitely more of a like coppery bronzy kind of moment. So this is another neutral option. This one is the Crush one from the same collection. But again, for like the $10 price tag, these are so great to carry around with you and they're really conveniently stored. So I like that, and the fact that the mix has at least 2 matte shades that go great together, it's good in my opinion. Next up is a palette that you're going to get very similar looks no matter what you do with it. Like you're going to get very similar looks because they're all really simple, but it also makes this palette really easy to use because you don't have to think about it. Just pick a couple colors, they will all blend together beautifully. And that's that's Tote palette from Colourpop. It has like the cool snakeskin pattern on it. This one, like you have a little bit, like this one's a Super Shock, so it's a little more wet than the rest of them. But overall with this palette, you're going to get very similar looks. Like yes, they're different shades, but they're very similar. I love the fact that this is very similar because I don't have to think about it. Like if you need nothing to think about, you're just like, I want to pick 2 colors. Whatever they are though will go together, and you put one on the lid and you're easy breezy look, and it looks like you put some effort into your makeup. So I like that for this. And honestly, I love the tones in this because they're more on the cool side. And I really like that on myself. I have a very cool toned skin, but I have a very, very warm hair color most of the time. So that kind of cool tone against my cool toned skin with a warm hair, just like the right amount of contrast for me. And I really enjoy cool tones on my eyeshadow. Even though I do love orangey tones too, like today. So I'm all over the place, but like that cool tone vibe makes me feel like seductive, I guess. Next up from Colourpop is another little small palette. This is one of the little 9-pan palettes. This is the Going Coconuts. I wanted this at release and I waited so long to pick it up, and now I'm so glad I have it. Like it's such a staple for me. Like when my boyfriend and I were just dating, not living together, I use this palette all the time. It was my makeup bag. It was the one I had at his house constantly, and I love it for the fact that like if you have neutral hair, you can use these browns as a brow product. You can use it as like your brow product. You don't have to carry it in your makeup bag. I love the white shimmery shade in here. I use it as a highlighter on my face a lot of days when I just had this here, and it's just nice. It's just a staple palette. Like the one thing about this one is I do have a lot of these little plastic things from Colourpop. This is the only one where the shadows kind of move around, so you gotta like put them back in place, but they are magnetic, so they do pop back in, but they do move around a little bit, but I just love the shades in this because it's all a good mix of like, you can make it slightly warm, you can make it slightly more cool toned, you can put that bright white on your lid so you feel a little bit of pop. So I like it. Also, that white for the inner corner is beautiful. Alright, so the last two options from Colourpop are two of their big palettes. They have two big neutral palettes. I think you know where I'm going with this. Now, I did Depop both of these palettes because they came in packaging that is way too big to sit in my Alex drawer. So I depotted them and put them in these palettes from Amazon. I bought them from Amazon. I will leave a link down below for you. But this one is the Bare Necessities palette. Now, we're going to ignore these 4 shades right here because these are from different things. This is the palette itself. But like this palette, see, I can just cut it off and you see it's just that. Has a bunch of different shades. So you have more of the simple colors for your crease, you have more warms, you have some neutrals that are like really cool toned, especially like the gray kind of tones here. So you can get like a good variety. You want some warm, you want some cool. It's a good basic neutral palette that I feel like you can do a lot of things with because there's a ton of shades in it. I'm trying to hold it so it doesn't show the other shadows. But it is a really great staple palette, and I don't think they plan on making a second one of these big neutral palettes when they made this one originally, because again, it does have warm and cool tones in it, but as a Bare Necessities palette, it is a great staple. You don't need any other neutral palette in your collection, honestly. Like, I do wish this had like maybe 1 or 2 like really darks rather than just a black, but like it's really good overall. The other one, which is their other big neutral palette, is the Stone Cold Fox palette. Now, I just have this palette in here. I kept them in the same order, so the layout's the same, but look how pretty. Now, this is definitely the cool toned one. Like, it's the Stone Cold Fox. I like this one more because I do love cool tones. Again, like when I want to feel like myself, it's either like a goldeny, orangey, yellow or yellow moment, or just like straight up cool tones. So this one is a staple for me. I've used this one more than Bare Necessities, even though when I got Bare Necessities, I was like using it constantly. But for me, I just love this because it's effortless. Again, like the That's Tote palette, you can pick like so many of these shimmers for the lid that are pretty similar. Like they have a slightly different tone to it, and then again, all of these crease colors that are mattes are decently similar too, where you can just mix and match and you're gonna get a great look every single time. And again, they have a staple black shade in here as well as a white, and then a white with a little bit of glitter in it as a matte. So they have some options here for you to make it easy to blend anything together, which I appreciate greatly. Also, this is from Altair on Amazon. This one's from Alwan. Alright, now that I've ranted and raved about Colourpop for a long time, if I haven't mentioned, I'll also leave all these palettes linked down below if you want to check them out. But now that I'm done with Colourpop, let's talk about the other affordable option. It is what is on my eyes today, which is just a cute little goldeny kind of neutral moment. And this is Canyon from Alter Ego. So Canyon is one of Alter Ego's palettes. Alter Ego dupes like high-end palettes. It's the dupe for Natasha Denona palette right here. They have a bunch of neutral ones. So they have a cool toned one, which is Sahara. My favorite one, which is like a goldeny, greeny, goldy kind of moment with some mustard too, is Goddess. But the one I'm talking about today, this is the only one I chose from this neutral palettes that were more on the, I guess, more warm side, because there's a bunch of yellows and golds in here. But this is just super cute. Honestly, if you take like some of these shades, like this one or this one, you don't have to do super warm. Even like these shades right here, if you put them on the lid with the right like mattes, like these kind of mattes in the crease, it doesn't have to be a super warm look. I think as far as neutrals, if you're looking for something neutral with a little bit more fun to it, like yellows and golds, which I personally love, this is a fantastic option for you. You can use code porcelain on Alter Ego or my link to save money off of it, save extra 10%, so it'll make the palettes down to like $14 instead of $18, which is a great deal. I do make a commission off of that, but like no pressure, of course. But like I really like their quality for the price tag. Like I think it's very similar quality to Colourpop, but this has like a heavy magnetic packaging that feels very luxurious. And then I'll see a Natasha Denona palette and I'm like, oh, that looks really pretty, but I can't afford it. And then they have one that's like the same thing. Actually slightly easier to use because Natasha Denona's is a little more wet of a formula and it's really a little more difficult for me to use personally. So I like that this is like a regular eyeshadow palette that I am able to handle. Okay, so now from an indie brand. So this one is Glamlite's Chocolate Donut Palette. I got this in the big Chocolate Factory mystery box, not mystery box, like a big bundle box that I bought. And I think this one's just so cute. So this is the chocolate donut. It's a very squishy, big, fat packaging, really inconvenient to store. But the tones in here are so pretty. And like, here's a look I created using this palette and I was like loving. I did it in a video because I did a video with this palette too. I just think like when I come up with looks with this palette, I really enjoy it. So you can have a little bit more of a warm tone with this one, or maybe like this matte. But again, you can make it really simple and really subtle. Just use the right crease colors and the right shimmers. Like, it's so pretty. And like, I'll swatch the center one here. I love Glamlite shimmer formula, you guys. Their shimmer formula is so pretty and metallic. Like, that's super cute. And that's not even like a bright color in the center there. Like, it still looks so smooth and pretty. And it wants to blend out forever. Like, I really enjoy Glamlite's quality. I do think their packaging, like, I do like the cool aesthetic, the fun food aesthetic. I didn't get it at first, but it's really grown on me. I just wish it wasn't bulky, you know? What's the point of being bulky? Alright, so lastly, we're going to talk about the more expensive palettes, but I really think they're worth the money, and they do go on sale. So, firstly, the one that goes on sale every time there's like a 21 Days of Ulta beauty thing going on is this Tarte Lit and Bloom palette. It is like my first love of neutral palettes other than the Gwen Stefani palette, which is discontinued, so I didn't feel like I should mention it today. But like, look how pretty she is. It's really hard to show you because it's very reflective, but look how pretty she is. This is one of the first palettes I was like, ooh, I might hit pan on that. Like, I have some good dents in these two shades right here as well as this one. And like, I've made some pretty good dents in this shimmer too. Like, honestly, this first half of the palette, they all have pretty good significance made in them. It's just a really great, I don't have to think about it palette again. Like, before I had the That's Tote palette, this is like my go-to. Like, oh, I want something simple, throw this baby on the lid. And also, I love the way Tarte eyeshadows smell. They have like a vanilla scent. It kind of smells like chocolate too. But I really like the way they smell. Like, they smell good. And it's a really easy to use palette. Lastly is a palette that I didn't expect to love as much as I do. And it's very boring, you know? I mean, we're talking about neutral palettes, but this is more of the most boring one here. But the quality is really nice. I love the packaging on it. And it's a surprise for me, so that's why I enjoy it. And this is the Little One palette from Lawless Beauty. You can find this at Sephora. Of course, I'll leave a link down below, like I said. But like, it's so easy to use. Like, I kind of wish both of these weren't yellowy shades. I know that's weird for me to say because you know I love yellows, but I wish this was more like one of these two shimmers here was more of a coppery tone or a cool tone. But like, overall, this is such an easy to use palette. It has a really light matte shade you can buff over under your eyebrow area. It has a really black shade if you want to like darken up this look and make it look vampy. But overall, it is just a simple to use palette that I really enjoy, and I was really surprised how much I enjoyed the quality of it, which is why I decided to use it in today's video for our last one, 10th one. Anyways, you guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I mean, this is a good stack of palettes. I'm dropping the little ones. This is a good stack of palettes. And like, honestly, any one of these, I think you can do like an everyday look with and have no issues with it. You don't have to get the most expensive one. You don't have to get the cheapest one. Like, neutral palettes, as long as they're pigmented and they're easy to blend, like, you should be able to do whatever you want with it, you know, as long as it has like a really dark shade and a really light shade, everything will mix together perfectly in the end. But they have different benefits to it. Like, if you want something with a lot of metallic, go for the Glamlite. You want something that is just like comfortable to wear, it looks like you're wearing a luxury palette, go for the Alter Ego. You want something simple you don't have to think about, go for Colourpop. Like, all of them have their own different benefits to it, and I would love to know if you have any of these palettes, which one is your favorite, down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.